know, it's really good to know exactly what your auto and home insurance really covers before you need it. And when it comes to your car, before you get into an accident. That way you're not paying out of your pocket extreme damages and all these premiums and everything. So here to help us read the fine print on what to look for when it comes to auto and home coverage is Cliff Cottom Insurance Services Sales and Operations Manager. We have the lovely Ann Seaborn. Ann, it's always great to have you on the show.
Thanks.
Yeah, because you always highlight all these important things that people really need to be aware of when it comes to insurance, which can be really confusing.
Can be.
And complicated for most, right? So let's talk about auto insurance, though. What are some of the coverages that I really need to be aware of?
There's three main coverages you want to look at. You want to look at your liability insurance, you want to look at your uninsured motorist coverage, and then comprehensive and collision if you're required to cover the vehicle or you want to make sure that the damages to the vehicle are covered.
Okay.
So your liability portion is other people and other people's property. So if you cause the accident and you injure other people in their vehicle or not in their vehicle and damage their property, your liability is going to cover that portion of it. The state minimum liability limits are $15,000 per person and a maximum of $30,000 total per accident for anybody's injuries. The property damage required by state of California is $5,000. If you look around at the cars you drive around you,
Yeah.
$5,000 isn't going to fix much.
No.
And if you don't have enough coverage, the rest of it comes out of your pocket.
Ugh.
So the key on liability is high liability limits and higher deductibles to offset the cost. Liability limits are pennies on the dollar, so you might as well increase those limits and make sure you're covered.
Yeah, because the last thing you want is to get into a wreck and all of a sudden owe an exorbitant amount of money, and then you're stuck in a really big pickle. Because we all know getting in an accident is just stressful enough. Then to know that all of a sudden you have to pay a lot of money. I mean,
your wages could be garnished if you don't have enough to cover it. Who wants to deal with that?
Great point. Yeah, great point. Let's talk about home insurance. What are some of the coverages we need to be aware in regards to that?
So the two main ones on homeowners insurance are to understand your dwelling coverage or your replacement value of your home, which is always different than the market value of the home.
Oh.
Biggest difference is market value includes land, where replacement value does not. So if you've remodeled your house recently, put an addition on there, even changed your roof, all of that comes into play, and you want to let your insurance agent know. And make sure that the replacement value is adequate enough if your home were to burn down to the ground and need to be rebuilt, which would include things like building code upgrades. If your home was built in the 80s, it needs to be built up to standards or today's required standards for the county that you live in. And the replacement value will do that for you.
Very, very key thing to know, especially in an area where we have so many natural disasters that we deal with on a yearly basis. You know, potential flood, the fires, which we're all very aware of that just recently happened. There's so many different things that can come into play that we need to make sure that we have this type of coverage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then liability again. Liability again, pennies on the dollar. So go for a $500,000 liability limit. The difference between $300,000 and $500,000 is less than $50 a year. It's worth it for that extra $200,000 in coverage. Imagine having a party at your house and somebody leaves and trips on your lawn, breaks their leg, sues you for the damages, and you don't have enough coverage. Again, it's going to come out of your pocket once your limits are reached.
Okay, and that's also another great point, too, that would actually be included in your homeowner insurance, that would support you in the event something like that happened.
Exactly.
Okay, so give us a little more insight, though, on liability limits and deductibles.
So your liability limits are always for other people and other people's property. Usually the only exception on that is on your auto insurance when uninsured motorist comes into play. We're all required by law to carry insurance, but people sometimes forget to pay their bills or their policies cancel for whatever reason. So that's going to be your liability coverage for just you. The comprehensive and collision is going to be coverage for your vehicle.
Okay.
So it's going to cover fire, theft, damage that's not accident related, and then, of course, your accident related. And then there's deductibles that apply. So if you want to get your premium down, raise your deductibles up. If you want to check with your lender to make sure that they don't have any limits, maybe $2,000 is the limit you can go to. But usually you can offset those costs by changing that.
Okay, so the best way for our viewers to know if they have this type of coverage is to check with their lender first and make sure that they're, kind of marking off all these key points that we talked about. But clearly they might need assistance beyond their current lender, or maybe they're shopping right now. So how do people reach you, Ann, for your expertise and to find out what Cliff Cottom Insurance Services can do for them?
Well, check our website at www.ccisca.com or give our office a call at 916-488-4426.
Wonderful. Ann, thank you so much. It can get so complicated. I know we covered a lot of information right now, but that's why you need somebody who really knows what you're doing to help kind of guide you along the way, right? All right.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Ann.
The following interview involves commercial content. The products and services featured appear as paid advertising.